Hello?
Hey, my man.
Jeremy,
What's up?
what's up, man? How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So, um, I think we have to post publicly. Let me see. I think I think it's going live. Okay. I think it's going live. It is, I believe. But let me check my YouTube page. So, all right, let me see. All right, so we have one viewer so far. So, let me look and see, make sure. Dun, 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 dun. So, what did you think of the debate last night? Did you watch it?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
last night, it was Monday.
Yeah, no, it was Monday. You are correct, sir. Okay, I think we're good to go. I think,
It was interesting.
yeah. Let
I
me.
still think it's all a setup. I think Trump, me and you could agree to disagree, but I don't think he wants to be a president.
Really, you don't think so?
No.
Okay, we're definitely working now. So, hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I got Gene Uskoff with me. We were on season 4, episodes 4 and 5 of Below Deck. We have several of your questions, and I actually also, Gene, I don't know if you know this, I don't know if I told you, I have a play-by-play of the text messages that I had with Anna, because Anna is a huge fan of the show, and she was with me. So if we ever have any questions about timelines, we can refer back to that. So, yeah, so what did you think before we got on the show?
I didn't even know what to think. I didn't know what to expect. I've never been on a show, and I was excited to go, and I've never actually seen the show before getting on it. So it was just exciting. Didn't know what to think because I've seen different television, and sometimes it looks scripted. Other times, it looks real. So I didn't know what to expect. All I knew is that we were going to have fun.
Yeah, and I mean, like, my originally my wife was going to go with.
Yeah.
And she got scared and she backed out when she read the agreement. And so I was like, all right, well, who do I know that could go last minute who'd have a passport? And I was like, Gene, you want to go with? So thankfully, Gene could go, and that was awesome. So, yeah, I had never seen the show before. They contacted me through my blog about many months before because they wanted me to go, or they asked me to go on the Mediterranean season. And I told them at the time, that was when I was selling my email marketing agency. And I just said, I've just got way too much going on, and it's not a good time for me. And so then it was funny because I got this about many months later. I was in a better position, and John Chow messaged me, and he said, hey, do you want to go on a reality show? And I said, let me guess, Below Deck. And he said, yeah. And I said, I would totally do it. I don't want to do any of the logistics though. So because they cover all your airfare, they cover, all this other stuff, but you've got to send in the cash and then, collect it from the rest of the people that are going. And I didn't want to do that. I said, dude, I'll wire you cash tomorrow, but I don't want to, if we're going to have more people, I don't want to go around and do that. So he did that. And without that, it wouldn't happen because I definitely wasn't going to do it. We've all been invited back to do it again, and they were really desperate to get us on the Mediterranean season, but that was just too short notice. So yeah, I mean, I think I don't see why we wouldn't definitely do it again for next season. I mean, you want to do it, right, Gene?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I never knew about the show. So just to start from the beginning, so we roll in there, and I won't even go into the whole thing about how I barely made it. But we go in there, and the funny thing is I think it might have been you and John. For some reason, you couldn't wear your shirts. I know John couldn't wear his .com shirt.
Well, because I had like a T-shirt with a girl's face on it, and they have to clear all the logos and approvals. So I'm actually wearing the shirt that you gave me, the shirt off your back.
Yeah, it was interesting. The I don't know why I have my post publicly thing, but I'm just gonna leave it. So it was interesting because I had already approved my Shoe Money logo, and that's why you see my logo throughout the thing. And I had already sent in the thing that I own the trademark for it. I have copyrights. I have all this and this. And then they were, okay, that's fine. And then when we got there, they said you can't do anything that said .com because John had sent his in, but I think anyway, but it said .com on it. So they told him no. And so he didn't have any other shirt. And I happened to have those Hawaiian shirts that, so the white ones he was wearing and the one you're wearing were extra ones that I had. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
In that. So then we go on the boat, and they had us film that like 3 times? 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, the way we walked on a boat.
That was interesting. I think when we got on, I don't know, what did you think when we got on and took the tour?
It was good. It just what people don't realize is on top of having the staff, that there's also camera, mic guys. So it's like you're always, not always, but at times you feel kind of like surrounded by the video guys. So it's like it takes a little bit of getting used to. But it was it was good.
Yeah, the guy Nick in the chat room says you guys didn't have shoes, so they take your shoes.
Yes.
When you get on the boat.
Before you get on the boat, you got to take the shoes off, and they take it.
Yeah, yeah. It is very strange because just before we got on, I remember, and this is what makes it so interesting from a production perspective, is that I remember they told us to take full advantage of the water toys, and because the other guests hadn't been. And, you guys paid for this, make sure you use all the water stuff and, ask for anything you want. Don't try to play anything up for cameras. And it was funny because we said, have you seen our Facebook? Or, we are just who we are. And, but the interesting thing about that is now looking at the storyline and how it was evolving, if you watch when the captain goes through our preference thing, and we'll talk about that more, but it says like they want to use all the water toys. We didn't say that in our thing. They told us to make sure we use all the water toys and request them. So that seemed a little weird, but it was cool. I mean, I guess it didn't seem weird, but it makes sense now because they were a man short, so it played into their storyline.
Right.
And that was kind of like the whole thing, like some things didn't make sense when they would talk about, but I mean, they're building up this storyline, right? And so now in hindsight, you see a lot of it, because some of it, I mean, like, okay, so the preference sheet, right? They ragged on Carolina, for not liking anything. And she was very upset about that and the way she was portrayed. And they made her look like, this picky bitch, if you will, who, like anything and had this salad but then wanted this and this. That was nothing to us. I mean, I don't even remember that. And, I mean, do you even remember that?
No, that was the 12-course meal. That was that whole tasting. I also thought it was a little bit weird where they should have given her the food anyway, even if she doesn't eat it, and somebody else would eat it, or at least she would pick on it. It's weird when you have like a tasting menu and somebody just gets a salad. They just feel totally left out. And she wasn't like that crazy. She just, has certain preferences.
Right, and they could have done the same thing to me because, I mean, she was very upset about it. And I said, well, Carolina, you put that on your sheet. You know, like you put, you don't like this, you don't like this, you don't like this, you want water over a certain pH level. Like, that's what you put. I mean, you know, my preference sheet, I'm going to post my preference sheet. I don't know if we're allowed to do that or not, but I'll probably do it and then take it down if I'm not supposed to. But, I mean, you know, they could have made me to look like her because, you know, Ben, well, Ben was like, so, you know, you eat a lot of meat on here, like, you don't really like the veggies and seafood. And I said, well, I don't really care for the raw seafood. But I said, buddy, if you make it, I will try it because you make everything amazing. And so people don't realize, like, remember him on his laptop, how much he researched the dishes that we had? That guy, I think that's the one thing is people think is for show, is that they work hard. I mean,
absolutely.
The steward, like one, you never see the Below Deck crew. You only see them like when you need like a water toy or something like that. So I didn't even remember their names.
Kelly and Nico.
Yeah. Now the show's on. Yeah, I remember their names. But I mean, like I never saw the show, so I had no idea. And then those stewards, they bust their ass, which they don't show you. But I mean, they really work hard.
Nonstop, 24 hours.
Yeah, really 24 hours. Like I drank so much that I was literally drunk the entire time, and it's caught up to me after turning 40. But every morning, they knew exactly what you want, and they would adapt to it. So every morning, they saw me getting up, and I would go there, and they would have like a Bloody Mary for me, an orange juice, and a vodka Rebel. Like they just knew what I wanted after the first day. And it was awesome because I tank the Bloody Mary and then I drink the orange juice and I just get back to drinking, just right back at it. And so one thing that we got a lot of questions about was the chest hair thing, which me and you did.
Yeah.
So
well, I did the back hair. You did the chest.
Yeah. So a lot of people asked me, was that staged? Was that this? So, you know, no, it wasn't staged. I mean, it didn't exactly happen like Robin said it, but he kind of like rephrased it. He wasn't asked to, but it was brought up before that. And then Robin said, why don't you guys have a push-up contest? Well, it was already brought up that we were going to do that before that happened. And I think we came up with it at the dinner table. And then, so we did that. Gene smoked me in that. It was very embarrassing, but it was a good time. It wasn't, I wasn't embarrassed about it.
No, you were not embarrassed.
Yeah, you can tell by my facial expressions as I laid there. I think I was more surprised that, because I'll be honest, at first I was like, gosh, I feel bad for Gene because I came up with this crazy idea. And I was like, I'll throw it to him. And then I look over and you're going hard and I'm done. You smoked me. So after we finish and they're going to wax my chest, the executive producer comes out of nowhere and he says, okay, guys, you know, I'm sending you ashore because this is going to be amazing. Like, remember how excited he was?
Yeah.
Like, about the chest waxing thing. He's like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, this is going to be so cool. I'm going to bring in the nighttime camera crew so the daytime and nighttime, they're going to shoot this from every angle. This is going to be so great. I'm going to send you guys ashore. So now rewind that. That's the only time we went ashore. So when they show like the guests going ashore. So anyway, when we went ashore, it was so funny. So it was just Kelly and Nico, no cameras and no microphones because they were all preparing for this chest waxing thing. And so that's when we were just going over there, and it was kind of cool because there was no, and I didn't even know these guys' names, you know. And we were talking about stuff, and you know, Kelly was talking about the don't ask, don't tell policy, you know, with the military, and you know, and I overheard him, and I was talking, you know, just talking to him about that, and I said, yeah, I remember that when I think like Bill Clinton was in office, and he was talking about how it's hard to be gay in the military. And so, I said to him and Nico, I was like, so are you guys like dating or something? And he was like, they both laughed about it, and he said, no, I have a boyfriend back home, but, I'm bisexual. I had a girlfriend the first time. And I said, why? And he's like, but he's like, I don't know how they would feel if I talked about that I was gay. So, and I was like, man, you are a buff, good looking dude. I just, I was surprised. Anyway, so, and also it was surprising now to see that Kate is a lesbian. It's just interesting. I thought it was interesting. And then we roll up. Yeah, and then we roll up to the bar, and we have all those uncut sheets of $2 bills, and I have to upload the video, our own footage. I have to upload that to YouTube because that's really funny, and to look on that lady's face of what she was saying, she was like, I can't take that, man, I can't take that. And everyone thought they were fake. Even Captain Lee thought they were fake. So it's funny. What was your favorite moment?
The chair, the waxing. I mean, that was like a lot of fun, and it was a little bit painful, but it was fun. Everybody was together. I thought that was really good.
I was surprised. I think in talking with so what a lot of people don't know is on Facebook, well, nobody would know. On Facebook, and you guys got to remember, it's been 8 months since we okay, Mark, you have a good question. I'm going to get to that in a second. It's been 8 months since we filmed this thing to when it's aired. And it was originally supposed to air, didn't they say like June?
Yeah, June or August.
Yeah. So I said, and the camera guys and everyone is not supposed to ever talk to you, but when I had he was like, bro. So I forgot where I was going with this before. But yeah, the moment.
The favorite moment.
Yeah, the moments I thought they would show was, and I'm not going to mention her name, but somebody got very, very, very intoxicated. And, well, I'll say it wasn't Carolina and it wasn't John Chow's daughter. Okay, so you can figure out who it was from there. She got extremely inebriated and slapped me in the face, called me a racist, which I think she called us all racist, actually. And
I was passed out at that point. I missed it. I think I was sleeping.
She was an absolute train wreck. And I was like, oh, God, I know somebody's definitely going to be shown. I mean, she was so wasted. So I thought for sure that was going to be shown. And you remember the audio room was right next to our cabin where they had all their audio equipment. So I could tell that night when she was all wasted that shit was happening upstairs. And I don't know exactly what happened upstairs, but there was a lot of drama with her being such a drunken disaster. So I could hear them like running upstairs and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I was surprised they didn't show that. And then I thought for sure that, I mean, they never showed her at all, except when she was ripping the hair off my chest. Otherwise, I don't remember them showing her. Another thing that happened was when Robin, they never showed me one time vaping. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I thought for sure.
Yeah, but maybe because of some smoking regulations and television, maybe it's something that. But yeah, Robin threw away your vape.
Yeah. So I vape. At that time, I haven't vaped like almost since the show, since May. So yeah, a little bit after the show, I was vaping like hardcore on the boat the entire time, and yeah, and they never showed me one time vaping. I was kind of surprised by that because they do show the crew smoking, like cigarettes. Um,
Oh,
yeah, sometimes, but usually they're off the boat. So that would make sense. I think, yeah. So we're sitting down for dinner and we're all drunk, and my vape is sitting on the table, and Robin grabs it and throws it in the ocean. And I'm like, it took me a bit to figure out that he actually did it because I thought he threw a fork or something, and I was like, no, he wouldn't disrespect me like that. I was really upset about it.
you almost threw his Rolex.
I tried. So I jump up and I try to rip his Rolex off of his, he's got this $30,000 Rolex. And I'm like, and there's like all of our friends are trying to separate us. The camera crew and those guys weren't. And so I'm trying to rip his Rolex off and throw it in the ocean. And I got to give that Rolex credit. That thing was on there, but remember his wrist was bleeding because of the crown, because I dug it in so hard. So I thought they would show that. They didn't show that. There was him and Carolina were in the hot tub together, and nothing happened. But they were like, you could see them doing that. I thought they would show that. It was interesting, like what they showed, like me saying we make more money, doing that, than most people make in a year, like being on that. I was surprised they showed that. Now, because I said it, so I don't, they showed like when whatchamacallit says it's sewer money. I don't remember her saying that, but that was interesting. They showed that. But now when you look back, we talk about like they really only show things that are affected by the crew. Would you agree with that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not the money, or we had a lot of conversations and they got a lot of footage, but they showed things that played into the crew of the boat and, the storyline.
Yeah, so confidentiality agreement. I'd have to look at it. I know there was some. They told us, hey, you can post pictures of you guys having fun on the yacht, but nothing that shows camera people. We nothing that says you were on below deck until we say the promo. And I don't remember signing anything about that. I signed a bunch of shit. Like right now, I could be violating everything. I don't know, and whatever. They did. Bravo did come to us and say, we want you to post on your Instagram and stuff your pictures and whatnot. So, I don't think it's a big deal. Yeah, they just asked us to please not post our own stuff, and they did ask us not to take a video on the boat, which, I kind of taught everyone, to just take video and then act like you're tapping your phone, taking pictures. And so I have a lot of behind the scenes video. And Ben just doesn't give a shit because so Ben doesn't care at all. Like I went to him and I said, my assistant's name is Anna, and she loves Ben. And I said to him, I said, hey, would you mind taking a quick video just saying, I love you, Anna? And he was like, oh, right now? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and I was like, but I know we're not supposed to. And he was like, oh, fuck it. And he was like, ready? And I was like, sure. And so he did it right then. I got my notes here right here as well, because I was actually texting Anna, who loves the show, in real time, everything as it was happening. So let's see. But the cooking was amazing. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the cooking was really good, and it's for a lot of people. And breakfast, lunch, lobster, like eggs, lobster Benedict, tuna, everything. The food was really good. Ben really delivered. And the
Yeah.
12-course tasting, I mean, the backstory with that also, I'm not sure if you shared it, but John, in the questions sheet, John said that his favorite meal is the 12-course tasting meal. So they kind of brought it up. We obviously, we said yes, but it wasn't like we didn't ask for a 12-course meal. It was right. It was something that they said, "Oh, John, you want to do a 12-course tasting?" So it's kind of based on that, and that was a long meal. I fell asleep like 3/4 in, just because we were on the water the whole day.
Yeah.
And we were drinking the whole day.
Yeah, they didn't show us scuba diving, which I thought they showed us going out. When they showed us doing push-up, it's amazing. Like you can see like the after show editing, because like after you and me did the push-ups and they're making jokes about walruses mating, which I thought was hilarious. Those guys weren't in blue. They had their black outfits on, and they were not up there. They were on the deck below us, because when I went down to medical after that, when I was bleeding, they were down there. So it's funny how they add in that like they're looking down on us, like after the thing. And I'm sure they do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like it's like, why is Bigfoot getting waxed? That was funny. And I think like it's like John was never portrayed really either way. I mean, he was portrayed very, very professional, and he's a professional person. I'm who I am. And, as far as reality goes, I think it was extremely real. I mean, they shape it the way they want to shape it, but, like they never put words in our mouth. They never once told us to say anything. They never once told us to repeat anything that we said. The only thing, I mean, like when you would get ready, they would ask you to like just like reshoot yourself, like dressing or combing your hair, which I didn't have a problem with. Like they did that a couple times, I think, but that was the only thing I remember them ever asking to reshoot anything. They definitely never told me to say anything again or anything like that. So, yeah, the one thing that was, so I had a big viewing party, and Emily, who was absolutely adorable, And of course I say, I'm just saying if anything should ever happen to my wife. And she goes back and says, he said if his wife dies. Not what I said, but fuck it. Don't let a lie get in the way of a good story. And I thought Kate, so I would say Kate was the most, I would say the nicest and the hardest working of any of them. But she comes off like a bitch, right? But that's her thing. I would say Emily was super nice, but didn't seem as, I don't know if confident's the word. Maybe it was inexperienced, which that would explain now that we know what a second Sue is. I don't know. What was your thought?
Yeah, I mean, and she wasn't like super friendly. Like she was, like Kate was very welcoming and very, very nice. And just on top, Emily was a little like more, laid back, and she wasn't like inappropriate. I mean, we've been to things where we could be a lot more inappropriate, especially with all the drinking we were doing. But she was just a little bit like kind of pushed back.
Right. I think that Sierra, I thought, was quiet as a mouse. She never said one word. And even when you would ask her questions, she would just like smile. And I just don't remember her ever saying anything.
I'm not sure. I don't.
She was the large-chested one.
Yes.
You might not even remember her.
I remember. No, I remember. I watched the show. Now that we were on it, we watched it. I
Yeah,
watched it like 50 times already. I know the whole show verbatim because, people that you haven't heard for 20 years are hitting you up over Facebook. Yeah, it's very good engagement tool to reconnect with old friends. And
it's
I've heard from people I haven't heard from in ages.
yeah, same with me, man. I have guys that I went to guys and girls I went to grade school with that have been like, oh, I saw you on Below Deck. What do you do for a living? And it's funny, I mean, like, it is funny, and it's funny how some were like, man, they really portrayed you in a certain way, and I'm like, no, that's me. Like, you should read my book. My book is way more egotistical, and the thing is, if you know me, then it's just one of those things. I mean, like, I make no excuse. That's how I am. Like, I would say everyone there is exactly how they are in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark is asking if there's any additional charges. I think everything's like included, Mark, and if you want something specific, it just they figure it out, and you obviously pay for it. But everything that was there, wine, all the drinks, all the fancy food, lobsters, foie gras, everything was included in the price.
Yeah, there was no.
The money was fun. The $20,000 in cash that you wanted to get all in singles, but just the island didn't have that many singles.
Yeah. Yeah, so like if we ordered like a 5K bottle of wine, like they would have got it, like no charge. If we wanted, like, I mean, when you look at the overall expense of the entire thing, but, like if you would have wanted, I don't know, everything, like, I got up one night at 3 a.m. and I wanted water, because every night before I went to sleep, I would go up there and just get as many bottled waters. And it was, I don't know if they had cameras or alerts or whatever, but Kate would always come out and she'd be like, I can get those for you. And I was like, no, it's totally fine. I can get my own waters. And so Ben was up. And so I said to Ben, hey, what's up, man? He's so cool. That dude is so amazingly cool. I mean, like, people think he's cool on the show. He's way cool in real life. So nice. Just so unbelievably cool. And so he gave me a tour of the whole back and where the people sleep, because you never, ever see anything like that. And so it was kind of funny because he was like, I asked him, I said, so how does this work? Like, what's your rank in all of this? And he said, the captain, and then him, and then Kate. And so I asked him, I said, well, how much do you make doing it? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. And he said, no, it's fine. He's like, me, the captain, and Kate are all on a set amount per show, which, even though they show them divided up by tip, fuck, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying that. But the rest of the people do work on tips 100%. So, like, when you see those guys divide up those tips, like Nico and the girl from Lauren, she was awesome. And the rest of them, like, they do work on tips. In fact, the producer, so at the end, they took me and John Chow aside because we were the co-primaries, and they said, make sure you hide the tip and don't tell anyone how much it is when you hand it to the captain. Don't say how much it is in there. Just say, hey, we got this for you. And also, like, with me and John, they asked us both, like, what was your favorite part of this? And this was like the only times that you saw the executive guy. And I said, he said, what was your favorite part? And I said, man, it was all amazing. And he said, well, if you had to say like one thing, what would it be? And I was like, I just don't know what to say. And John was in the same boat. And I said, he said, well, what about when they had the water toys? Like, do you think that was kind of over and above like what they did? And I said, yeah, I guess. And he said, okay, well, maybe you might want to say that to him when you go through the line. And I was like, okay. And then on the opposite side, he was like, what did you not like? And he's like, because we like, that's a good thing, is to let them know feedback. And, he did it very professionally, and I didn't smell a rat at anything, because we'd never seen the program. We actually watched the program back at the hotel the last night.
Yeah.
So he said to me and John, what's something that you wouldn't like? And I said, man, I don't know. It was so awesome. Everything was awesome. And, John said the same thing. And he said, well, what about the 12-course meal? Because that took a very long time to do. And I said, I guess, just like the other thing. I said, I guess, And John said, kind of the same. And we were both reluctant to actually say that. But so then we went through the line and we actually said those things, and they never even showed, and I felt like a big jerk because I said, Ben, your food was amazing, like all this stuff. And they focused on like them giving us the chest hair. I thought it was funny about that. Kate was just a sweetheart for doing that for us.
Yeah.
She was truly, I would have to say, Kate, you can see why she's the star of the show. You can see why Captain Lee is legit. I mean, they're all legit. I mean, like, Ben does so much research and asks you so many questions about what you want to eat, or if you would like this and this and this. And, Captain Lee, I mean, we rarely saw him. I remember I don't know if you were up there when I bet him. See, because Kate had talked about how far we were from the equator. Do you remember that? Were you up there for that?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, I went up to the wheelhouse, and Kate had told me we were like 450 miles from the equator. So I said to Captain Lee, how far do you think we are from the equator? And he said, I think we're, 700 miles. And I said, I think we're probably like closer than you think. And he said, well, whatever. And I said, I'll bet you $1,000 because I know you got money. Let's bet on it. But of course I already knew. And he said, I don't want to bet you, and he is like almost, I would say, an intimidating presence.
Yeah.
Being around him. I mean, it is. He's very, like, when they show him laying down the law, like, just being around him, like, sometimes it just was like, should I be doing push-ups or something? I don't, like, I felt like he was an intimidating, just an intimidating thing. All right, so other questions we got. What was the most surprising thing that what was the most surprising thing about it?
I'm not even sure. What was the most surprising? Just, I think everything was interesting. I didn't think anything was really surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just, it's funny because we're so busy in our regular lives, and literally, I won't go into the whole backstory about how I got there, but I will say that I had traveled a lot right before it, and I barely made it to my flight. And it was because the airports around me were so close because of the snow.
The weather, yeah, it was February, so you almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I always say one of my mottos is do what others wouldn't. And what I had to do to make it, I don't know that very many people would have done that. But anyway, so you guys got there ahead. I got there late. And when I landed, I'm so geographically challenged. Like when they say like the flag, and and John says, you really are geographically challenged. Yeah, I am. When I landed, I thought it was down the Florida Keys. I said to the cab driver, where are we at? Because there's all these chickens rolling around. And, I saw those in the Caymans, and it was usually because there's no natural predators. And I was like, so where are we exactly? And she said, well, where where Cuba is, and then you've got, you know, these other places and this other thing. She's like, you're just south of that. She's like, you're in between America and South America. And I was like, what? Like, I was like, really? Because I slept all the way down there. So, yeah. And then, so I got there so late that those guys were all over having dinner, and I'm on Facebook, and they're taking pictures of their dinners and all this stuff, and I'm like, God damn it, I want to get over there. So I go down to the front desk, and I tell the lady down there, I said, do you know anyone that could just take me across the water over there? And she's like, well, I know a few people maybe, you know, for like $2,000 that could, you know, do that. And I was like, $2,000? I was like, why so much? And she's like, well, you know, the coyotes are expensive. And I said, coyotes? And she said, well, it's, you know, that's a different country. And I was like, oh, no shit. So I was like, I didn't know that. So I was like, okay, I'll wait for the
ferry.
Yeah, the ferry in the morning. So yeah, that was interesting. So I have a timeline. So yeah, so one thing incorrect was they said, you know, that the 12-course meal was the first night, and that's what they wrote on the thing. It was actually the last night. Part of the reason we were so exhausted. I would say, if anything, that was the number one thing we were so exhausted. I mean, I had been completely wasted 24/7 on 4 hours sleep a night for 3 days. And yeah, I mean, it was the last night, and it was exhausting, let alone the 12-course thing, which the 12-course thing was amazing.
But it was long because it was 12 courses, and we spent the whole day in the water, and then we went.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going over my notes. I said to Kelly, and I remember this now, when we were coming back on the boat, because he's one buff dude. And I said to him, I said, I'll bet you, I don't know why I was in the bet. You know me, I always bet dumb shit. I said, I'll bet you $500 you can't beat me and one of the other guests in arm wrestling. And he was like, what, are you going to pick the big Viking guy? And I was like, of course. And he's like, I'm not going to bet you, you know, whatever. We also, remember when we offered the ladies $1,000 for a bikini contest?
Yeah, but they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. I forget, like, she told, so I wrote about the $2 to Captain Lee. I talked about how fucking shredded Kelly was. Let's see. I talked about how exhausting I was, or how, God, this is just the first stuff. Anyway, it was an amazing, amazing experience. I slept the entire way home. I was so exhausted. My most surprising thing, I think, would be Kelly, you know, talking about that he was gay. And I mean, you know, this is the part where I'm supposed to say, like, you know, I have friends that are gay and all that stuff. Anyone who knows me knows. I love people, and I'm always fascinated by people and what makes them tick and stuff. So just, you know, hearing his stories about the military. And he did say that, you know, there was some jackass that had made fun of all the people and that had died and his friends and stuff to me. And I was like, man, that sucks, you know, and stuff like that. So now, but it makes all the sense, right? That now you know they were one guy down.
Right.
And that his military thing. And then, so now you know, like, how cool were those CPUP things they had?
Those CBOBs were amazing. That was like one of my favorite things because it's like better than a jet ski.
It was. I said, you know, it was. I asked. It was funny because I said to one of the below deck guys, which you rarely saw. I said, can I get because they put a GoPro on mine, and actually when you see us going around, you can see me doing it. And I said, can I get the footage from that? And he was like, yeah, I'm sure. And then when I talked to the video production people, they were like, no. And I was like, okay. I guess then. I don't really have any other notes that are like super exciting. I just told her, I said, the producer said, I blah blah blah. I just said, man, they work their ass off. They when they unpacked me, I was so surprised. You remember when I thought I lost my passport?
Yeah.
I was an absolute disaster because I guess that's like a huge thing, and you have to stay at the embassy until you can get a copy of your passport there. So, gosh, that was funny. I'm trying to think. We kind of answered all the questions. We offered them $3,000 for. I was going over my notes here.
For the King content.
$3,000 to do a talent show. Let's see. I asked Kate how come we didn't do any activities, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're joking. You realize I do that when guests are boring." Okay, so because one of my friends had told me, she was like, "You should have them do an activity. They like to plan these activities." So I asked Kate, I'm just going over my notes, how come you didn't do any activities for us? You didn't plan anything. And she said, "Oh my God, I only do that for people that are super boring." So I thought that was interesting. So evidently we weren't boring.
I don't think we were. And it was interesting to have like another, 6 people with the microphones and the cameras, because people don't realize that there's always people filming. It took a little bit of getting used to, but it was fun. It was we got to know it was good. And they would come in and change shifts and micas, de-micas. We would have microphones all the time.
Oh yeah. And the microphones, just so people know, were like, they were about half the size of my phone, right? So it was like this, but they were just these flat little stickers with a wire that would go down your shirt that would attach to the back of your shirt. So that way you had like no pin or nothing like that. And then it would go down and it would either attach to whatever you had here, but we had on swim trunks most of the time. So they had these belts that would go around the inside that you couldn't tell the transmitter was there. But they were like, do not go in the water with these.
I think we drowned a couple of my.
Yeah. And I think they said they were like, I forget, John Chow is master of technology, and he actually looked it up and found it. Okay, I'm going through questions, going through other stuff. Oh, so this was a funny part that maybe you can elaborate on, because I wasn't there because they were like putting peroxide on my chest that was bleeding. So when we went ashore and we did the $2 bill thing, which I'm going to post some behind the scenes videos of that. When we came back, Ken, the big Viking guy who said, "Emily, can we see your V?" and stuff like that, had a captain's hat that he took from that. Yeah. And I don't even remember him.
From the bar.
Oh, did he? Okay, but it had all these signatures on it. I don't know how he. Yeah. Know. So then
we bought it from the lady. We bought it from the lady at the bar.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So we were getting drinks, and he's like, "How much for the hat?" And she's like $20 or something like that. But what ended up happening is after we left, she got in trouble because of the $2 bills. So one of the people on the show had to go back and pay them in cash and get the $2 bills back.
Right. And I gave her money. They wouldn't take them
because they felt, they were like, "Oh my God!" And we started slicing them. That was fun time. I wish that would have made into the show.
Yeah. So what else I thought was funny was, so after we get back, we do the chest waxing thing, or chest waxing and your back waxing. They take me down below. They put hydrogen peroxide on my chest or some other shit on there. I don't know, but it stopped the bleeding. I go back up to be with you guys, and you had finished doing it, But I could hear Ken yelling about a mutiny.
Yeah, well, because
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
Ken put on the hat and he said, "Let's take over the boat. I'll be the new captain, Captain Ken."
That is hilarious. Yeah, because I wasn't around for that. And so was Captain Lee there?
I think Captain Lee was there. I think, they gave each other one of those looks because Ken is a pretty big guy. And with that captain hat, he could have made it happen.
That's like,
That was funny.
yeah.
We had a lot of laps. I mean, like we were filming, 16, even I would say 18 hours a day. Like we were up 18 to 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
There was always drinking and having fun and just hanging out. And so there was a lot of footage.
Yeah. And I said to, while we were on there, we said to, I forget his name. I want to say Colin or one of the other guys that we talked to a lot. I said, all right, let's make a bet. If we increase the ratings for the season by 10%, I'm like, you guys got to do this. Like, we come on for free next time. And he was like, well, he never said yes. Where he definitely was like, I had no idea. When you look at the ratings, because of our reach, I emailed out my list, hundreds of thousands of people, 237 opens of the email. If those
237,000 people, just 237,000 people opened the email.
Right. So if they, that's worldwide. So if the ones in the U.S., let's just call it 50,000. If they even send it to a friend, whatever, or our reach on Facebook, our reach on Twitter, I've got 100 and some thousand followers on Twitter. So does John Chow. He's got a big email list. You have huge connections, email, whatever. Between us three, I don't know that the rest of them had much of a reach. They're great people, but as far as marketing goes or whatever, I don't think they pushed it. And we raised the ratings over 30%. Then
yeah, so I think it should bring us back. And we did 30% 2 weeks in a row.
I know that was huge. And the first one was number 3 in all of cable television. All of cable television. And that's how much we raised the ratings. And so it's funny because we get no credit from Bravo. It's all like you see the interviews with the producers and they're like, yeah, the storyline's so good this season. And it's like you had the pilot that did like 1.1 and then it slowly fades from there, which makes sense. And then all of a sudden we roll in and it goes higher than anything they've ever had. And so, it's going to be interesting because now, like, if it remains high, it's us. I mean, like, there's no doubt about it. I mean, maybe that's me being egotistical, whatever, but
no, I mean, plus you pushed it there. We had this conversation. We know marketing, so we can actually get more people to watch the show by running, which, they really don't do. I mean, they obviously promote it, but we know how to target and reach and engage much better. And especially you and John have crazy followings. I mean, like crazy. Hundreds of thousands of people for years. I mean, so I got a lot of calls and texts from people in the industry and just people that, watched, and I think we definitely, and you and John, factors in driving the ratings up.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I know you're right. And if the show nosedives from here, it'll be pretty obvious. If it does well, I think we save the show. I mean, for the remainder, I mean, that sounds cocky, but the numbers are the numbers. I mean, and if Bravo and them want to pretend that, like it was because of the storyline, I guess, whatever. But if the show tanks, then, whatever. I think that, I mean, I won Fast Company's Influence Project, which put me on the cover of the magazine. And it was because I influenced more people to do the action that they wanted. And they weren't real happy because I won, because they had people like Shaquille O'Neal and Britney Spears and all these others. But that's what we do as marketers. I mean,
Right.
Marketing by definition is getting people to do what they normally wouldn't. So whether it's selling them a product or whatever, it's just basic psychology and NLP and all other stuff.
Getting people to take action. And
right. And it was interesting because some of the people, the two girls that were on it, one wasn't shown, but was like totally like, don't talk about me, don't tag me, nothing. And Carolina, whatever, but they have never been exposed to publicity. And like me, there's no light they could have put on me that I would have been upset about. And I think you're the same way.
Yeah, I am the same exact way.
Yeah.
I've done enough crazy stuff not to be upset about anything.
I've spoken in front of 100 audiences, several that had thousands of people. One in particular, a keynote that had 5,000 people. There's people that talk shit. I mean, I've had people, you speak 100 times, you're going to reach people. I've had people try to heckle me on stage. I had John Chow fucking shoot rockets at me from the crowd. But I'm just saying, like, you do stuff like that, and I mean, as a blogger, just Google like Shoe Money is a scammer, Shoe Money sucks, whatever. I mean, it's, I welcome it, whatever. I don't care, and that's what I told Carolina, who was portrayed. She's an absolute sweetheart, and who was portrayed by that. But she was wrecked on social media. I mean, everyone, and
because people that watch it, they are connected to the cast, so we are the enemy. Any guests in this type of shows, we are the enemy. We are the walruses, we are the apes, we are the Bigfoots, we are the so it's expected.
Right. So it's interesting that people are all about like, fuck rich people, whatever. Well, fuck you. Like, fuck you. Like, that was us. And I think, one thing is that a lot of people don't know our stories and don't know that everyone there came from nothing. And we all are self-made. I grew up very low class, mid class, and, very hardworking parents, but, I became a multimillionaire online and doing my stuff. I mean, I think you have a very similar story. I know John Chow is an immigrant from China.
Yeah, I was a refugee from Ukraine, so
yeah, very
similar story. I never even finished high school.
Yeah, I can't speak for the others because I don't know their background as well. But I mean, so come into money and, I made it myself. I don't waste it. And it is what it is, people can fuck off. I mean, I act the way I act. And if anyone has a problem with that, I mean, like that Chester, there's some memes going around about it. Says like I have a 6-pack of tits. It's fucking great, I mean, it was funny as shit. There's a bunch of memes about us getting our chest waxed that I've seen go around that really crack me up. And go for it. I mean, it's hilarious.
The more the better.
I was surprised they didn't show. Well, I was surprised. It is like John Chow made a great point of. They only show things that directly affect the crew. And the show's about the crew. Totally makes sense. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. I mean, the show is about the crew. We are just I mean, we made it more about us because we were more engaged. Seeing other shows, how a lot of guests are a lot more engaging and a lot more different. I mean, we had a really interesting group because usually, and then everybody is a follower. Where here, everyone was like a primary personality, and everyone was different. So I think that was interesting, and the show is about the crew, so they focus on it. That's what the viewers like, as well. I mean, they'll never probably see us again unless we come back, and maybe it's going to be more about us.
Yeah, who knows? Do you have anything to add before we roll out here?
No, just thank you for making it happen for me. I had an awesome time. It was a lot of fun. It was really good. It was really authentic, like you said. I mean, we didn't repeat anything. There was no script, and there was a little bit of guidance, like little things, like you said about. But all of that, the show is authentic. It's good, and the people are great. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone there was, even though they make fun of us or whatever, they were good people. They were all working hard. Kate, Ben, putting in 110%. We even discussed it. Like there would be other people unpacking our bags, and but they were hustling, they were working, they were professional. It was really good. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was an amazing experience.
Let's go next time. Let's make it happen. Let's talk to Bravo.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I absolutely after seeing this, maybe they won't invite us. But I don't think
we don't ever see it.
We never. Yeah, they probably will never see it. I don't think we on the here disclose anything. Really. Yeah, there wasn't, and there. I mean, in the confidentiality thing, it was mostly about saying things before we went on and stuff. So whatever. All right, cool. Well, let's wrap it up here. Thanks for coming on and doing this. It's
always happy. Good seeing you, and thank you.
All right, thanks, dude.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Talk to you soon.